Hey, what's good, magical family? It's Unique Divination, and you are watching Urban Mystic TV. And this video is going to be about the deity Lord Ganesha and what he represents. Lord Ganesha is a deity that I use and I am very connected with. These past few years, me and my husband, we have a tapestry with Lord Ganesha. In our bedroom. You may have seen it in a video or something when I was doing a live reading on Instagram or Facebook or something like that. But Lord Ganesha I really connect with him, and I just kind of wanted to break down what he represents for you all, so you guys could just have some knowledge of this deity. Okay, so Lord Ganesha is the remover. He is known as the remover of obstacles. Okay, um, and I'm going to be reading from this website, the speaking tree.in, and spiritual significance of Ganesha. Okay. Um, when you look at a picture of Lord Ganapate, what do you see? You may see a charming, slightly comical, elephant-headed god that you have been told to pray to first before you start anything new. You may know that he is the remover of obstacles, and you may even know many of the Puranic stories associated with him. But look closer and you will find a deeper meaning behind the symbols that are in front of you. They say it's a rat. If you look at the pictures, you'll see a mouse at his feet, usually to the left, and the mouse or the rat, his vahana or vehicle, represents the lowest form of animal. His elephant head represents the highest form of animal. Having also the body of a man shows that he is Ganesha, the Lord of all beings. His large ears and head indicate that he has gained wisdom through listening and reflecting on the eternal truths of the Vedas. His head and trunk are curved into the shape of our most sacred of symbols, representing the primeval sound of creation and our most powerful mantra in prayer and meditation. The importance of the elephant is also that it is a herbivore, eating sattvic food, a common gentle animal that also has immense strength, which it uses only when needed. The elephant's trunk is one of the few instruments in nature that can perform both gross and subtle acts. It can uproot a huge tree as well as pick up the tiniest of needles. It signifies the need for us to be able to develop our intellect, our powers of discrimination, in both the gross or material world and also in the subtle or spiritual world. In his right hand he holds a hook or ankusa, and in his left hand he holds a noose or a pasa. These tools are used back home by elephant trainers to tame wild elephants. Symbolically, the mind is like a wild elephant running from here to there in chaos. So we must use the ankusa to tame and control our mind, and then use the noose to tie it down and keep it close to us. Only then we can contemplate, and meditate. In another hand, he holds a dish of mathakam. This sweet, with its hard outer shell, signifies the reward of the sweetness of knowledge that will give the spiritual seeker joy, satisfaction, and contentment as he travels along the path of enlightenment. It also indicates the importance of eating the correct sattvic food in order to progress spiritually. Lord Ganesha's large belly is said to contain the whole universe and is symbolic of the way we should live our lives. We must be able to accept and digest whatever experiences we go through, be that good or bad. Throughout our trials and tribulations, we must be equal-minded and realize that all experiences are learning experiences and will bring us closer to God. Lord Ganesha sits with one leg folded up and the other leg resting on the ground. The leg on the ground tells us that we can live in the world like anyone else, but the leg pointing upward tells us that our concentration and meditation should be ever focused on the Godhead within. Rather, like the lotus that he holds in his hand, which grows in stagnant water, but raises its flowers above the waterline so that their purity will not be blemished by the polluted waters underneath. We can live in this world but remain unpolluted by the materialism and negative qualities of our surroundings. At the feet of our Lord is often spread a huge array of different kinds of food. The food represents material wealth, power, and prosperity, and indicates that if you do live a life of high ideals and principles, these material benefits will always be available for you, although you will not be attached to them, and they will therefore not hinder your spiritual progress. The little rat, or mushikam, represents desire. Rats by nature are very greedy creatures who will run here and there, nibbling and hoarding far more than they need. If a man has desires, he can waste his whole life running here and there, fulfilling one desire only to replace it with another. Instead, we should be like Lord Ganesha and keep our desires firmly under control, never allowing them to overwhelm us. According to Vinayaka Puranam, the rat also represents the demon Gaja Muhasura, who was destroyed by Lord Ganapati. The Lord actually used his tusk to kill the evil entity, and the tusk that he later used to write down our holiest of books, the Mahabharata. Interestingly enough, according to the Puranic stories, all of the vehicles of the different gods and goddesses represent their particular asuras, which means demons, that they defeated. Symbolically, they represent the ignorance of man, which can be kept under control only by God in the form of knowledge. There are 32 forms of Lord Ganapati, and each has a wealth of Puranic stories attached to it. They include Bela Ganapati, depicting him as a child, Haramba Ganapati, with 5 heads, 10 hands, 3 eyes in each face, and riding on a lion, Veera Vignesha, showing his fighting form with many weapons held in his hands, Lakshmi Ganapati, with his wife goddess Lakshmi, and Nrita Ganapati, a wonderful image of him dancing. Each of these forms has a wealth of symbolism attached to it. Each will take us closer to the goal that we seek. We just need to delve deeper to reveal the treasures of spiritual and philosophical knowledge that our ancient forefathers have left for us to enjoy. Next, I kind of want to get into the mythological origin of Lord Ganesh. So, basically, here it begins. Desiring to take a bath, Mother Parvati, Lord Shiva's consort, created a boy from dirt to guard her home when she was bathing. As it happened, Lord Shiva returned while Mother Parvati was away. Surprised to see a stranger outside the home, the Lord demanded that he be allowed to enter his home. Much to his dismay, the boy refused to allow him in. Infuriated at being barred from entering his home, the Lord cut off the boy's head. On returning, Mother Parvati was inconsolable when she found out what the Lord had done. To alleviate her suffering, Lord Shiva commanded his troops to get the head of the first living being they came across. The first living being they chanced upon happened to be an elephant calf. Finally, Lord Shiva, on receiving the head of the calf, placed it on the boy's body and restored life to him. Thus, Lord Ganesha was created. Lord Shiva represents the divine self. Lord Ganesha, being his son, is symbolic of a person who has attained that state of divinity. While representing the divinity, Lord Ganesha also represents the way to attain that exalted state. Lord Ganesha's elephant head symbolizes the immense wisdom of a person of perfection. Wisdom is something that comes out of manana, independent thinking and reflection. This manana can happen only when one has taken in spiritual knowledge, i.e., the process of Shravana has taken place. The process of Shravana, or intake of spiritual knowledge, is portrayed as Lord Ganesha's large ears, where one listens to a teacher. It also symbolizes that even the wisest people are always open to hearing fresh ideas and opinions. In other words, the wise are those who always keep an open mind. Emerging from the Lord's head is the elephant trunk. This trunk visually depicts a well-developed intellect that arises out of wisdom, the elephant head. Our intellect is of two kinds, gross and subtle. The gross intellect is used to discriminate between pairs of opposites in the world. Black and white, hard and soft, easy and difficult, masculine and feminine. The subtle intellect, on the other hand, discriminates between right and wrong, permanent and impermanent, and is colloquially called the conscious. In a person who has realized the self, this intellect is extremely well developed, both gross and subtle. Such people have clarity of thinking and a clear sense of right and wrong. At a relative level, even people who have made progress on the spiritual path experience this. Choices become clear and life becomes a lot simpler. Without clarity of thought, our worldview is bound to be confused and colored by our own prejudices and preconception. Lord Ganesha's well-shaped trunk depicts a crystal clear intellect that a person of perfection develops. One of the key attributes of people who are self-realized is that they rise above their likes and dislikes and the pair of opposites that the world presents before them. Established in the permanent divinity, they remain unperturbed by what the world has to offer, the joys and the sorrows, the victories and the losses. They understand the ways of the world and take to life as a sports person takes to sports, giving their best at every juncture, yet understanding that in the ultimate analysis, it's only a game. Relatively speaking, genuine seekers on the spiritual path also achieve this sense of peace to the extent that they have identified with the self. Just this transcendence over the pairs of opposites, two tusks, in a person of perfection is indicated beautifully by Lord Ganesha's broken tusk. For it is only when we have risen above the play of opposites in the world that we can stomach the challenges that life throws at us. This idea is depicted by Lord Ganesha's large stomach. People who attain the supreme state have tremendous mental strength to brush aside the greatest setbacks while keeping their heads in the midst of immensely joyous experience. The Lord's posture with one foot on the ground and the other folded up conveys to us that while we must operate in the world, there must also be a constant alignment with Atman and through all our experiences. In the relative, whatever we do, there must be an unwavering focus on a higher spiritual goal. Without this focus, it is impossible to make spiritual progress. Now, the food at the feet of Lord Ganesha symbolizes material wealth and power. Through this, the Lord subtly indicates that the world rewards those that live a life of truth. Those who turn spiritual acquire merit in their respective fields of activity, and those with merit seldom go unacknowledged. They command respect and wealth even though they may not desire it. The mouse at the Lord's mode of transport magnifies the challenge that a spiritual person faces when trying to communicate the knowledge of the infinite self through the finite equipments of body, mind, and intellect. Atman cannot be touched with the body, felt through emotion, or understood with the intellect. One can only become it through spiritual practice. In his four hands, Lord Ganesha holds an axe, a rope, a modak, which is a sweetened rice ball, and a lotus. The axe represents the annihilation of desire with the axe of spirituality. The rope is spiritual knowledge which helps us to remove ourselves from the samsara, which is the material world that we are entrenched in. The modak symbolizes the happiness and joy a seeker derives from the spiritual pursuit, and the lotus stands for that divine state of self-realization that every human being aspires for, consciously or unconsciously. The lotus sustains itself in dirty ponds, but yet is above it all. Similarly, a person of perfection can live in the world, enjoy life, and yet be above it all by identifying with the self. The occasion of Ganesha Chaturthi gives us, as spiritual aspirants, an opportunity to remember what Lord Ganesha stands for, a chance to reignite ourselves in our search for divinity. So this concludes my video about the deity Lord Ganesha. I hope I gave you some information that you didn't know before. I hope it shed just some light on Lord Ganesha, why people worship him, what he represents, and what he means to me. Um, Thank you for tuning in, sharing your energy, listening to this video. Thank you for subscribing to my channel for all my subscribers. If you are not a subscriber, what are you waiting for? Also, while you're at it, go ahead and like the video and please comment below and let me know what you think about it, okay? Until next time, I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.